students, today we are going to discuss about the aggregate supply. So in our previous video we have already discussed about the meaning and components of aggregate demand and diagrammatic representation of aggregate demand. So today we will discuss about the AS aggregate supply. So first you see what is aggregate supply. AS aggregate supply refers to money value of final goods and the services that all the producers are willing to supply in an economy in a given time period. So in this definition, first you see these things. Number one is the final. What is the meaning of final goods and services? So already we discussed about these final goods and services that when the goods are ready to consume and it's come out from the production process, resale is not possible, then these are the final goods. So in here we are not talking about the intermediate goods. Clear? We are talking about the final goods and services. Second thing you see, willing to sell. It's not the actual sale, willing to sell. So these two things is very important. S refers to the money value of final goods and the services that all the producers are willing to supply in an economy in a given time period. So in here, AS in bracket I have written Y. Later I will tell you why I have written Y. First you see AS is equal C plus S. C means what? C is equal consumption. C is equal consumption and S is equal savings. So there are two components of aggregate supply, consumption and savings. Okay, so now you see this one. When aggregate supply is expressed in physical terms, it refers to the total output of goods and services in an economy. So already we know there are how many factors of production? 4. Land, labor, capital and organizer, you can say entrepreneur also. So see here, suppose land, labor, capital and organizer. Okay, so land will get rent, okay, then labor, wage, then capital, interest, and organizer, profit. Okay, so these 4 are the factor income. What it's called? Factors income. It means these are the 4 factors of production. So when they receive some remuneration, then this is called the factor incomes. So these are the 4 factors and these are the factor incomes. So I think you know the difference between factor income and the transfer income. So this factor income means what? So when they are related to production and they give you some return. Okay, so these are the factors income. Transfer income, it means like old age pension, scholarship, which one is not related to production in your simple terms. Okay, so that's why now you see the sum total of factor incomes. It means rent plus wage plus interest plus profit at domestic and national level is termed as NI. NI means what? National income. So students, what you understood? It means aggregate supply and national income are one and the same thing. You understood? Aggregate supply and the national income are one and the same thing. That's why I have written here AS in bracket Y. It means aggregate supply. It means aggregate supply is equal, you can write national income. National income. Okay, so it means AS is equal Y. So sometimes if you see in your question paper, suppose the Y is equal C plus S. So what you will understand? It means aggregate supply is equal C plus S. Clear? So quickly you see what we discussed today. So first we discussed about the meaning of aggregate supply AS. So it refers to money value of final goods and services that all the producers are willing to supply in an economy in a given time period. There are how many components of aggregate supply? Two. One is consumption and another one is the savings. Next, what we learned? We learned that aggregate supply, you can say AS is equal Y also. Why you can say Y? Because I have written here the sum total of factor incomes. It means rent, wage, interest, profit and domestic, and national income is termed as national income. And finally, we have learned that aggregate supply and national income are one and the same thing. So that's why AS is equal Y is equal C plus S. Okay, so I hope you understood this lesson. So if you have any problem or doubt, so please let me know in the comment section below. Definitely I will try to help you. Thank you.